Okay, so welcome everyone. This is Ari Kopel. I have Serena on the line. I also have our wonderful guest, Omi. And the reason for the teleconference call tonight is because, it was made to my attention, or Serena called me a couple of days ago, I believe, and she expressed something that was so heartfelt and so moving to me that I pretty much said, well, we've got to do something. And so what it is, it's basically, a call to action so that we can come to the aid of our mother, okay? And apparently from, it's evident, what we see in the outer world that things are not going exactly very well, okay? So when Serena brought this to my attention and she told me the story of, her communication with the mother herself, and that she apparently had heard, I guess a recording from Omi, which happens to be on the call with us tonight. She felt compelled to do something, and so she called me, and so we're both of the people that actually do something. We're proactive, and we decided to go ahead and not only put it up as blogs and different sites and on Facebook and however you found out about it, but also do a teleconference call so that you can all hear the passion yourselves in Serena's words and in Omi herself, who had the experience directly, and she actually went and did an amazing journey to be able to confirm, the information that she had gotten. So without further ado, I'm going to put Serena on for a brief moment. She will explain how she got to this point and why, she felt so compelled and the information she's gotten, and then we're going to hear from Omi herself. So Serena, you want to go ahead and speak a couple of words as to, what happened and why you felt compelled to reach out to me?
Yes. Well, because, Miss Omi's message about the mother and the mother asking for help has been one that I have been hearing for years now. And I have been so passionate that it has caused me to be at a loss for words. I struggle to express the intensity and the depth of this plea for help and the necessity for help to the mother, to Mother Earth, to the feminine, to the planet, to the waters, to care for these with love and compassion on a daily basis, on an ongoing basis. But I got very despondent and I got very quiet about it. And anyway, how I came across Miss Omi is a woman who I have been in discourse with, sent me her audio link, Omi's audio link, and I listened to it. And I heard in Omi's voice the beauty of her soul and her spirit, her love and her passion, her softness, and her authentic need and desire to help the mother, and her experience from hearing the mother's message, and how she was touched and moved, and I was touched and moved, and I was compelled to reach out to her and see how I can join her in helping. So I sent her an email and I asked her, and she communicated, and here we are at the teleconference call, and she has organized an event for June 25th on Saturday, and she will, explain what that will be about, and I guess she can take it from there. I'm still at a loss for words, and right now I'm just still in a feeling of overwhelm in many ways. Mm-hmm. But I don't know how many people on the call have gone over to her site and read her message and, her bio there. So I will just read briefly a little bit of her bio, and then I will hand it over to her and she can speak. Is that okay, Omi?
Yes, Serena. Thank you.
Okay. So Miss Ome was born in London and is a fifth-generation wisdom keeper who was chosen as the next to carry the tradition for her African-Caribbean lineage. She is the author of several books and integrated mindfulness psychotherapist who loves empowering children. Her personal life calling and Echo Water spiritual journey has unfolded a deep passion for protecting and healing our waterways through raising awareness, holding water blessings, and teaching the ancient way of living in right relation with our Mother Earth. It has led to her showing the oneness of all cultures through ongoing extensive research of the symbols and iconographies of the world's ancient water mothers. Her Echo Water work has led her to being invited to teach and speak around the world and being invited to the United Nations. So we are very honored and blessed to have Ms. Yeye here with us on the call to speak. And if there's any further information you would like to add to that, please go ahead, and I will let her speak, and then we will open up for questions, if that's okay with everybody.
Yeah, that sounds like a great idea. And also, in between, if we have any questions for Omi, Serena, and let's go ahead and then take the opportunity to do that as well. Is that okay with you? I mean, just between you and I, you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Okay. All right, Omi, the floor is yours. I would love for you to explain what this event is on Saturday and why you felt compelled to reach out to so many people.
Yeah,
okay.
Excuse me, one other point. Miss Omi's husband is also here with her, listening on the line, and he also has wisdom, and he is also invited to speak when he feels.
Absolutely.
So I just wanted to say that. Okay, go ahead, please.
Yes, so I'd like to say thank you to Serena and Ari for inviting me on the call. I saw it as I'm really tied up in getting this ceremony together. I'm very exhausted. But when Serena reached out to me, I was really moved because she reminded me of myself, and she reminded me of the many emails I've received since my trip to India, which I'll explain, and the hopelessness that a lot of women and also men have felt on the journey. I've received so many emails of women and some men actually saying they've had many visions about what's coming for our world and the future of our earth, and many emails of women actually saying how humiliated they've been sometimes and how shamed they have been sometimes about the visions, and how they have found no way for anyone to listen because no one's listening.
Exactly.
And as a result, so many women, and I include men in this, but it's been mainly women who have been emailing me at this particular time, have felt broken, and yet when they heard the messages and the story of me going to see the Tibetan State Oracle, they were reactivated and reignited, and they received validation for the visions they've had over many years. Yes. So this is why despite having so many things to do, and I have a young child to look after as well, but I felt it was very important for me to honor Serena and her journey, and therefore honoring all of us in our journeys, that I know what it's like to have no one to listen. And so this was important because I've been in that place, and sometimes I'm still in that place. So I just wanted to share that. On sharing that, before I talk, I always open up with a prayer to the Great Mother and the ancestors, because it's the Great Mother and ancestors who guide me and give me all that I know and all to share. So first of all, I'd like to say thank you, Great Mother of the waters and the universe. In your African name is Mother Osun. I give thanks to you for guiding me and also bringing this awakening to the world. I give thanks to you in your many cultural names, in your many cultural ways, as Oya, as Yemenja, in the African tradition, as Durga, as Parvati, as Kali, as Sati, as Lakshmi, as Sarasvati, as Bunmi. In the Hindu tradition, as Tara and Guan Yin. In the Buddhist tradition, as Spider Woman, as Changing Woman. In the Native American tradition, and as all the other forms of the mothers I have not named, I give thanks to you. I give thanks to the great fathers who stand by her side as well, and all the great ancestors of the East, the South, the West, and the Northern nations. I give thanks to you, and I ask for the waters of the world and all the elemental mothers to be present to witness our earnest and to hear our prayers. I ask that whatever you would like to come through on this call, that what is to come through comes through in powerful and truthful ways, in the ways you would like people to hear it. I open this space up for all of us to share and to be present mindfully in this space. I give thanks to you, ancestors and Great Mother and all the holy ones. Ashe, Aho, Namaste, Amen.
Ashe.
Yes, Ashe.
Ashe. So what I'd like to explain, just a little background. So Serena gave a little background to me. This part of my journey, I have spent 9 years now with my husband, traveling across the sacred waterways, giving blessings and teachings. And this calling actually came from the mother, Osun herself, the Yoruba mother of the waters and universe. And it was a calling that was verified by elders in Africa who said, this is something I have to do. That the oracle in Africa said that I had a mission, and the mission was to help the mother heal the world. Well, way back then, this sounded very fantastical and strange. And living in the West, even though I'm from African Caribbean lineage, it still sounded strange. And I was like, help heal the world? And I asked the elder who had done the oracle reading, well, what do I do? And he said, you will hear the answer in a few days. I can't give it to you. Spirit will give it to you. And one day when I was meditating, I heard a very soft voice say, go to water. Well, back then I was like, go to water? What can going to water do? What do I do at water? How does that heal the world? I had no idea. And I was very frustrated and down about this, and I thought, this is such a strange journey I've been called on. I did try to get out of this whole thing, and I couldn't. When I went back to the elder, the oracle said that this was the mission I was born to do, to help heal the world from its suffering, and to help the mother do this. And I suppose just to make sure I didn't get out of it, the oracle gave me several, two titles. One was Yeye Osun, which means that made me a mother in the Osun tradition, and and then I was given a second title, Crown of Osun, which made me a spiritual, almost like an ambassador in the tradition, to spread the sacred wisdom of the mother and the auricular wisdom. And so this kind of I felt trapped in destiny. So depressed, very depressed, I gathered up to 5 people, which is actually the sacred number of the mother, and is also a sacred number in Chinese mythology. I gathered 5 people, and all I knew to do, I didn't know what to do. All I did was I went to the waterways, and I stood there and I started praying. And I felt so foolish. I felt so foolish, and I thought, what are these prayers going to do? But as the months and the years unfolded, I had many initiations over 7 years into the water mother culture. And my latest initiation was in Tibetan Buddhism by the Tibetan oracle. But over the years, I became very close to water. And as I became closer and closer to water, my spiritual journey began to unfold in quite miraculous ways. And I began to be able to connect with water and really hear its messages, the sacred messages of the Water Mother. And I began to read more and more I was led to read more and more about the water cultures around the world. And I began to see a connectivity between all the cultures as I studied the Water Mothers. But also I began to realize something I hadn't realized, that we were deeply polluting the waters and we were deeply polluting our earth, which sounds common now, but way back then it wasn't that hot a topic, so it was something many of us didn't know in any great detail. And I realized that water and the elements were reflecting back messages to us. So through the water being polluted, it became like a mirror into our souls and a portal showing us that we were going down the wrong way. Because the message I had received from the Water Mother is that if water is polluted, then it means that we too are polluted like the waters, because we are the ones who polluted the waters.
Yes.
And slowly I began to spread the message of the way we need to care for the earth, the way we need to care for our waters. And this led me deeper and deeper into a spiritual journey, which led into the way we need to be, that the waters and the elements, the ancestors of all the nations, were showing that we need to live more compassionately in the world, and that each tradition has this core of compassion in it. Anyway, so time went on this journey. We started in 2007. I've been on the spiritual path since I was 20 years old, but this part of the journey, this intensive part, started in 2007. And more people began to hear of the water blessings, and the water blessings grew and grew until they grew into something called Water Songline, where hundreds of people gather around the world blessing the waters. And these were people who were already doing ceremonies for the waters and the earth, but they were often doing it alone. So what Water Songline allowed was for them to know of all the other ceremonies going on and to strengthen them on their journey. I was eventually invited to the United Nations to speak about the sacred waters and to bring my understanding of the water crises and how to solve it. And what I shared with the United Nations was that water, what I was sharing with you as well, is that water is our last messenger. That water is the very last element to be polluted, and it's the last element that will be fought over. And when the waters go, that everything goes with it. That I told them that the message from water is that we must not see water as a commodity, and therefore we must not see life as a commodity itself. That water has shown us that life is not a commodity, that earth is not a commodity, but that everything is sacred and must be treated in a sacred manner. And so and I shared with the United Nations a story from the Yoruba tradition as well, which I won't go into right now. So to bring us up to date now, however, on saying this, the journey was very difficult. That I'm an empath and a clairvoyant and a seer from my father's lineage. The wisdom keeping tradition I belong to a female lineage of seers who see the future. And so I started seeing many visions, and I had no one to share them with along this journey, but I kept on doing the work. But many times I wanted to just give up out of frustration, but I kept on and kept on. Then one day, about a month ago, I was actually sleeping in my bed, and I woke up, and I was just going to actually the bathroom, and I collapsed on the floor and fell into a very deep trance state, deeper than I have received, the deepest trance state I think I've ever received, barring maybe in 2007 when many messages were coming to me, but it was a very deep trance state, and I was filled with pain and suffering in my body. And it's actually hard to get across the level of pain and suffering that I had, because sometimes words don't describe these things, the intensity. But it was so intense, it's like I felt it at the very level of my DNA, and all over me was in pain and aching, and I was crying, and I was crying and crying. And then as I was filled with this pain and these tears, the mother began to speak through me. And the mother said, I am dying because no one is listening. And she was angry, and she said, no one is listening. And she said, there is a great suffering coming to this world, a great suffering. And she was desperate, and she wanted this message to be heard. And she said, this great suffering is because no one is listening. No one is listening to me. No one is listening to the ancestors. And I'm dying and I'm weak. And when I die, and when this earth dies, everyone will go with me. Everyone will die with me. And she kept on saying, there's this great suffering, there's this great suffering. And as she said it, this anxiety and this pain and these tears filled me. And the suffering I felt in my body felt like the suffering that was going to come. And the suffering I felt and the suffering that she was talking about seemed to be more, I wasn't sure what the suffering was, but it seemed to be something that was greater than we have ever experienced. And there was a desperation, and there was a power and an intensity behind the message that shook me to my very core. This trance lasted for an hour, and my husband, who is a priest and a chief in the Ifa Yoruba tradition, was managing the trance state because I was so deeply under. And the mother then said, I need to go to see the oracle. And my husband said, which oracle? The reason why he asked which oracle, because in the Yoruba tradition of Nigeria, there is actually a living oracle. There is someone who's the head of all the priests, and he manifests the oracle once a year. So my husband said, you mean the oracle in Nigeria? She said, no, the oracle, he's far, far, far away. And she said, I must go and see him. I must. He will know. He will know. That's all she kept on saying. He will know. And he will have a solution. And as she said, he will know, it seemed like she was saying, he will know what she is saying. He will know, and he would have a solution. And she just kept on saying, I must go to see him. And so when I came out of the trance state, she said, the oracle, she said, yes, the Tibetan people. We didn't know who this oracle was. I was shaken up. My husband was shaken up. And then he called, we have an elder and priest in Nigeria, and he called him and said, Baba, and explained what happened. Our elder, who's a professor, actually decided not to go and teach in school that day. He said, I must read on this straight away with the oracle. And he divined on it. And he said, yes, the oracle here has said that that Omileye must go immediately to see the oracle of the Tibetan people. And he said, the oracle here says that this message is very urgent, and this message is true. And he said the oracle has elaborated that the message from Osun, the Great Mother, is actually a message from the ancestors to humankind. He said the oracle says the ancestors are angry, and they will visit the world with a great disaster, with great suffering, which will come in the form of of natural disasters. And he said the ancestors are warning that we must treat the earth in a sacred manner again. And those who have the ability to spread these messages and to spread the right way must do it, or they will also, they too will be part of the great suffering. Anyway, I'm going to try and shorten what happened. I was extremely depressed because, one, not only did it seem crazy and fantastical to go all the way to see the Tibetan oracle. 2, I had no idea who the Tibetan oracle was. 3, I had no idea how you see someone at that level. And 4, I had no money. And to cut a long story short is, after many, many, many days of trying different ways to find out who the Tibetan oracle was, how did I see him? In meditation, the mother led me to this individual I didn't know very, very well. Her name's Prema Dasara. She's the founder of the Tara Dhatu movement. And in meditation, I saw her face very clearly smiling at me, and I was directed to speak to her about the vision. And I thought, how could I speak to her? She's going to think I'm crazy. You know, visions, go see the oracle. But I eventually did go to speak to her, and Prema said, oh, you got sent to the right person. I actually know who the oracle is. I went to see him many years, and I had a friend who saw him last year. And she put me in touch, and this was miraculous in itself, and she put me in touch with the friend, and the friend had a contact in India, Dar es Salaam, where the Dalai Lama, where His Holiness the Dalai Lama lives, and that person actually contacted the oracle. Now, the Tibetan oracle is the person who is actually His Holiness the Dalai Lama's personal oracle, and he's also leads the Tibetan people. So he, after 2 weeks of waiting and anxiety, he actually gave permission for me to come and see him in India. Well, this was fantastic, but there was one catch. I had no money, 0 money. And so through meditation, I was directed to do a fundraiser. But I only had 10 days to raise money, thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars, because my husband had to travel with me and my young child, and we had to do accommodation and all those things. And yet, and all over the 10 days I was depressed, and it was by the 5th day that the funds started coming in and people started donating, and many, many women began to send me emails of their personal journeys and visions. And by some miracle, and these letters and these emails were, as my husband called them, beacons of light on the path that kept on encouraging me, making me think, I have to do this. And I began to feel like I'm not just doing this for myself, but I'm doing this for everyone's journeys, because I had so many emails, over 50, 60 emails of women and men saying how discouraged they had been on the journey. I felt a responsibility and a weight to fulfill this mission. Eventually, we raised all the funds, which was miraculous in itself. And I had shared on a previous audio that one woman had sent me an email, and she said, I only have $6 that I've fallen on very hard times, and all I have is $6 for this week. But she said, I so believe in this mission, I'm so resonating with this, that I'm sending you my last $6, my very last $6. And it was letters like this and things like this that made me keep on going on. And I cried for days when I read her email, and I thought, I have to do this. So the money was raised after 10 days. And as we got to, and it was a 48-hour journey to Dar es Salaam. And on the morning that we arrived 3 in the morning, and our host, who became our friend, actually, our host who became our friend actually said the oracle would like to see you later this morning, which threw us in a quandary because we were so tired. But we went to see the oracle. He was very good. He's Venerable Theptun Ndogup but he's called Kutanla. That's how most people know him, as Kutanla, the Tibetan oracle. And he was so compassionate and kind and radiated wisdom. And he listened very patiently to the visions that I had. I told him everything. And then he just looked at me very quietly and silently for a moment in contemplation when I finished. And then he said something. He said, 2 days before you came, arrived in Dharamsala, he said, the Nechong oracle that I manifest, the spirit, this is the spirit that I carry, came and delivered a powerful message. And he said the Nechong oracle delivered the exact same message that you delivered with the exact same intensity. He said the oracle that I manifest, he said there is a great suffering to come, to visit, that will be coming to humanity. And he said he delivered it with so much force and intensity that everyone had to sit up and really listen, as the oracle was admonishing humanity for their bad behavior towards the earth. He said the oracle said there's a great suffering to come because humankind are polluting the 4 elements, air, water, fire, and earth. That we are polluting the 4 elements, and the 4 elements are going completely out of balance, and the 4 elemental mothers are upset and they are angry, and they are the ones who are going to send this suffering to the earth. And it's going to, and he explained the oracle of the Tibetan people said that he actually named what the disaster was going to be. He said the oracle said that it would be huge tsunamis like we have never experienced before, and huge earthquakes like we had never experienced before. And he said that therefore this was the same message that you brought, just that the oracle just elaborated just even a little more. And he said Mother Osun was right. He said the oracle did also bring forward the solution, that the oracle said the way to alleviate and minimize this great suffering that was to come was to do ceremony, to urgently start holding ceremonies to the 4 elemental mothers. And he said, and he said that these ceremonies will help to calm down, minimize the suffering to come. Well, this shook me to my very core, the fact that somehow I had this vision all the way in the U.S. where I'm living now, and I trusted, or through the force of the message, was forced to go all the way to Tibet. To the they call it Little Tibet. It's Dar es Salaam, where the Dalai Lama lives. It's called Little Tibet. To go all the way to India, Dharamsala, only to be told that the oracle that Kutanla manifests actually had the exact same message and yes, had the solution. And I was dumbfounded. And I kept on thinking, why was I sent here all the way to Dharamsala, India, to find out that the oracle had the exact same message and vision? And as I asked this question, the awareness was put in my mind that it was to double the power of the message. It was to double the force of the message. And it was to make people really stand up and pay attention, because it was that miraculous that 2 individuals from 2 completely different cultures, from 2 other sides of the world, had this powerful message. And the story was so far out there, and so strange and miraculous, that people would pay attention. And that and the message I received was that if I had not gone to Dar es Salaam, India, that no one would ever have heard any of these two messages, which were the same, because no one would have heard the message that I brought forward, and no one would have heard, besides a very small, tiny circle of people, would have heard the message of the Tibetan, of Kutanla, the Tibetan oracle. No one would have heard this message that he brought forward that was so powerful, so important. Because of the message that we brought, Kutanla, the Tibetan State Oracle, he requested to see us 2 more times, and he said he wanted to personally ring His Holiness the Dalai Lama so that he could give us private audience and bless us for our journeys. And His Holiness did actually see us and bless us, and he gifted me 3 books, which I'm reading today, and I'm carrying the wisdom in my cells and my DNA. He said these books will help me empower my journey. And then Kutanla, the Tibetan oracle, gave myself and Olu, my husband, an initiation. Initiation to heal us, an initiation to give us our little daughter he initiated as well. And he said the initiation was to give us the energy and the power to come back to bring these messages and do the work to help uplift humanity out of suffering. And he made us promise that we would not abuse the power he was giving us. And he made us promise that we will bring these messages back and bring back the message of doing these ceremonies. Tell people to do the ceremony to the 4 elemental mothers. And this is what we did when we came back. This is what we did when we came back. I have fulfilled this promise. I was frustrated a little when I came back because I had no idea how to do the ceremony. I knew it was going to be a universal ceremony, but I had no idea. I kept on trying to seek guidance, and then one day when I was meditating, in fact on Sunday, at the solstice Sunday, the ceremony burst forward, and the messages I ended up drawing a diagram from my trance in meditation of the whole ceremony, and I was. And then my husband was saying to me that Spirit said this ceremony had to be done urgently, and I had the diagram of the ceremony structure. I was told there'll be a main ceremony that will be universal, multi-faith, representing the different deities and ancestors from the different nations. I was told there will be other ceremonies held around the world that will be done in people's own cultural ways and their own personal ways to propitiate the 4 elemental mothers. And so I was like, okay, this ceremony's come forward. This is great. I thought this will happen at the end of July, and I would just start telling people the date when we can start all doing ceremonies together. Well, myself and my husband divine, and we checked the oracle on the date for the very first main ceremony, and the oracle said Saturday the 25th of June. Sorry, the oracle said the last weekend of June, and I said to my husband, but the last weekend of June is next weekend. And we checked the calendar, and he said, yes, you're right. And I was like, there's no way we can do this ceremony for next weekend, such a big ceremony. I don't have the time, and this is too last minute. But after deep frustration, and we had nowhere to even hold such a ceremony, we had no one, but yet I just decided to follow the call-in. I left it up to Spirit, and I just started frantically contacting people, and eventually people actually came forward. Different people came forward to hold the earth energy, propitiate the Earth Mother. People came forward to carry different energies of different mothers, to lead prayers for them. And slowly, and different elders from different traditions began to share with me the ways to bring the ceremony to life. And one Native American elder is actually coming all the way from Seattle, Washington, down to Asheville, North Carolina, to help hold the ceremony. So this is the story in a big nutshell. So just on a final note, the the first ceremony will be held on June the 25th in Asheville, North Carolina. There are many women who are holding ceremonies around the world, Australia, New Zealand, around the U.S. I only know this because I've received many, many emails from these people. And after this ceremony, there'll be other main ceremonies and then other supporting ceremonies that will be held. And so, on a very final note, I really can't express to people on this call or who may end up listening to this how urgent this message was. But when I received this message, and I've received many messages, but when I received this message that sent me all the way to India, somehow, and this may sound strange, but somehow it felt like the final message. It felt like the very final message from the mother and the ancestors. It felt like it was that urgent that we need to pay attention. And one last thing, there's another thing I have to share. We saw Kutan-La, the Tibetan oracle, for 3 days, 3 different meetings. And in the final meeting, he said to me, "Do you have any more questions?" And I thought about it, and I said to him, I have a question that's always on my mind. Do you think that as a humanity we are definitely going towards extinction? Do you think we are going to be extinct and nothing we do matters? And I said, I want a really truthful answer from you. And he really thought about it, and he said, because I asked him, is there still hope? And then he took quite some time and meditated on it, and he said, yes, there is still hope. But he said, we all must open our hearts to compassion and be compassionate and do what is needed to be done. And so I think I will just end there, and I hope I gave a good background to all of this. But I can't express to you how urgent this is. I can't express to you how many boundaries, how many barriers that I had to overcome in myself to expose myself in this way. As I fundraised, I had to tell people about the trance. I had to tell people about the vision. I was scared to. I was scared of people laughing at me. I was scared of humiliation. I had so much fear in me. And it felt so fantastical. And I thought people are going to think this girl's crazy. And so I had to fight through all of that fear because somehow I knew this was important, and I knew that if I didn't make the effort, I would never know what was at the other end of the message. I would never know what was going to happen if I went to India. And this is what propelled me, but this was not an easy journey for me. This was filled with a lot of angst, fear. I fell into deep depressions at many times, overwhelmedness, but yet I had to do it. And now I can truly say that I'm so glad that I did, because so many women and men have been ignited and know their visions were valid. They have an umbrella to share their visions under, to say, look what the Tibetan State Oracle said, look what this woman said, they had the same vision. The solution has been given. And they can say, these are visions I've had for so many years, and they can now walk strongly on their path and continue to listen and continue to share with us the things they see. It's my prayer that everyone, in their big and small ways, appease the 4 elemental mothers. You can do this through simple prayer by yourself. You can do this in a small group, but I can truly assure you, and I am definitely the most doubting Thomas in the world, the greatest doubting Thomas. For some reason, it's the first time I feel really great conviction, because it came from such a powerful oracle, that I definitely feel what we can do in our spiritual circles, will bring about great balance, a greater balance in our earth. And I just want to say thank you, Ashe, Namaste, Aho, Amen, for listening to such a lengthy explanation. And I will just pause and hand it back to Serena.
Wow. Again, I'm very moved and very touched by your message and your authenticity. I can't even speak, actually. And thank you for going through all of this and your journey, as difficult as it has been. But you're right, there are a lot of us who shared this vision, who have had similar visions along the way at varying depths and degrees of intensity and number of times. And there are some people on the call, I'm sure, who are asking the questions, and I have two questions at this time. The first one is, you said that we need to spread this message and to do it properly. How can we spread this message, in your opinion, and how can we do it properly so that it gets across?
Yes, that's a really good question. So, and now I do have greater clarity this week. The best way to spread the message, I would say, when I came back, I felt it was important to update all the people who had sponsored the trip about the journey and the messages that came forward. So what I did, I held a teleconference and decided to record it and put the recording up on my website so people could actually hear the background story to the trip and the messages. So you can spread the message by actually listening to the recording first of the trip update. It explains things very well, and so you can hear it, and when you hear it, you will know in your own heart how to spread this, because anyone who's inclined to spread it would most probably feel a resonance with the message because they've heard the same message. And so I think this is a way to spread it, is to listen to the recording and know that many, many people have received these visions before. Another way to help spread it is the validation from scientists who actually do say we are heading towards a great extinction. The problem is that in our spiritual circles, many of us have felt desperate, and we haven't known exactly what to do, but we've done many good works, we've done many things, but this truly is the solution for this particular time and period. I don't know what the great suffering is. Huge tsunamis, huge earthquakes, what is that? I wasn't sure. It could be a super earthquake that's about to go off. I have no idea. The other thing is, how do you do the ceremony properly?
Yes, that was my second question.
Yes. So, first of all, the ceremony that you hold, the most important thing is to do it from your heart.
Right.
To open your heart with the only intent to face the elements and actually face them, feel the air, face the water, the earth, and say, Mother, please let me know what to do to help bring balance to you. I apologize to you. I apologize on behalf of the humanity I'm part of. Show me the way. Show me the way, the vision to bring balance to you. I'm here to pray to you, Mother Earth, Mother Air, Mother Water, and here to give an offering of prayer to you with my deepest intent, my deepest sincerity. And open your heart to this and feel what you feel in your bones, your cells, your DNA. Don't think about this intellectually, and feel what comes to you. I would suggest having something to represent each of the elements if you're doing a personal prayer. And you can even do one prayer a day, even one for water, earth, fire, then air, or you could do it all together. The most important thing is intent. In this particular ceremony, there truly is no right or absolute wrong.
Right. Yeah.
In terms of we do have a ceremonial structure for the bigger the ceremony that is interfaith to represent the different mothers. And what I'm going to do is actually share a more detailed structure of how you can actually hold a personal ceremony and even a smaller community ceremony. And what I had received as a channeling was that people can take what they need from this core structure and make it into in their own way, where they may want to represent different faces of the mother, or just maybe from their culture and one other culture. It really doesn't matter. It's all about the prayer in the heart.
Yes. Yes. Okay, thank you.
Yes, and just on a final note, that also will be on the website, the structure. And there also are teleconferences I'm doing. I did one yesterday with an elder, the elder who's coming down from the Native American tradition. He will be coming down. He was on our teleconference explaining more about the elemental mothers and ceremony. And then I'm actually have another teleconference on Thursday with another elder. She's a female from the Cherokee lineage. And there'll be someone from the Sufi tradition and they will be talking about the elemental mothers, and we will be talking in more detail about the ceremonial structure because it's going to be done in the medicine wheel format.
Okay, and in order for people to access this recording that you did, they just have to go to your website, and it says, listen to recording teleconference trip update. This is the trip update, and there you will get the discussion that Ms. Yeye is talking about now.
Omi, can you please tell us what your website address is, please?
Yes, the website address is www.Yeye Osun, which is spelled YeyeOsun.com. That's N for no. .com. So www.yeyeosun.com. And I'm sure Serena will be able to inform people as well if they have any problems with accessing that.
If anybody has a question about that, just contact Ari or myself. I will forward to her the link, and we can just send that out. Ari, how much more time do we have?
As much time as you need, guys.
Okay. At this point, if your husband wanted to add any words, would he want to speak now, or we can take questions from people?
Okay,
I'll put myself on mute.
Welcome, and I'm honoring all of our ancestors and all of our relations. So just a couple of things that I'll add. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, okay. So first of all, this grew out of the need to be heard, and I've heard this mentioned more than once, but I wanted to clarify that we go to our oracles all the time, and during this 9-year journey have shared multiple serious, urgent messages from the Mother with our people, our priests, and our oracle. And we have not got that kind of response that we feel would be appropriate to deal with these things. Mm-hmm. And so in this case, the Mother came, and like Omi said, it was really powerful and urgent and very, very sad. So from a husband standpoint, from an earthling standpoint, we're sitting there, we're sleeping, everything's cool, I'm here with my wife, everything's cool, and all of a sudden she's hysterically sad, and there's nothing I can do to address it. Hysterically sad. And so what I'm saying is that this came to us as a last resort, since your elders are really not listening, and we've been trying this over and over again. The mother wants to go to another elder and another oracle, and I'm going to tell you where to go. And so it's out of that kind of a space of trying to get this message out to the world. This is what the ultimate approach was, and it was incredible how different it felt to be validated by an oracle, by not just an oracle, but the entire community, with all the way up to the Dalai Lama. We were only there for a week, maybe 10 days, and every person that we encountered was full of love and compassion and openness. It's their culture. But it was incredible. It was an incredible feeling to be validated and assisted and given directions and help towards this goal of getting the message out and doing something about it. Mm-hmm. That's number one. Number two, as we came back, we didn't know what to do, for the four elementals that was recommended. That's how we should honor them, and we didn't know what. But she had another manifestation, which I don't think she clarified. It was actually a manifestation that said, you have to do this now. You have to do this way now. And so these are messages from the mothers. The third point is that the ceremonial piece that you do, it is important that we respect the four elements. And the mothers of the four elements is how it's been put to us. Mm-hmm. But as we do these ceremonies, it is the elementals, water, and the four elementals that are being appeased, and we are sending apologies to those directly. In addition to that, the other layers that people bring in from their cultural perspectives would include your ancestors for sure. So the elementals, the mother energies, Mother Earth, and also your ancestors. The third point would be the how to get this out. Well, first of all, there's a serious cleansing that has to happen within ourselves. I mean, whatever it is that we need to get rid of or enhance and prepare for this powerful ceremony, we need to do that first. And we can do it in a group, but first we need to cleanse ourselves, and that needs to happen pretty quickly. And then as a result of that cleansing, do ceremonies. Everybody's, even if it's an individual ceremony, but everybody on this call should be doing ceremonies to the elementals, and as often as you can. And by that act, you're going to have the inner energy that will be exerted in an outward manner to the universe and to your community. So then, when you speak to someone, they see this dynamic energy on you.
Right.
Because when we were in Little Tibet, you literally saw the energy. You felt the love. You felt the compassion emanating from the oracle. Kutenla was like, you could feel it. And that's the way we need to be. So the best way to market this, the best way to spread this, is to do it, to become very comfortable with it, and to emanate this very powerful energy from the mothers and the elementals. And the last thing is we have to have a different relationship with all of our relations, all sentient beings, man, animals, plants, elementals, everything that's sentient, everything that's part of this world. We have got to have the appropriate relationship with it. I mean, just stop having a bad relationship. It's like, go cold turkey. Stop drinking. Now, I'm not saying you have to stop drinking, but I'm saying just like you have to quit a bad habit, we need to quit a bad habit. And it has to probably should be cold turkey, but just make an effort, even if it's one step at a time,
right,
to change our behavior to all our relations. Because that, in effect, will stop polluting the rivers, and you'll see the river will clean itself.
yes.
So those are the points that I wanted to bring. And I thank you for the opportunity to be in this circle and share and be a part of what you guys are doing. And Ashe to what you guys are doing. Ashe.
Ashe, and thank you for being here with us. We thank you. So at this point, I think it's pretty clear what happened, the urgency, the authenticity of what's been happening with many people as far as the visions and the same messages that are coming through from the mother. The ceremony, it has been said that it mostly primarily needs to simply come from the heart, and your authentic prayer from the heart with the intent to face the elements and say a prayer and offer a prayer to the earth, air, water, and fire, and ask them what we can do. And if we do not get any messages, then we can do whatever we think is best to offer cleansing or purification or prayer in some way. We don't have to do anything outlandish. It can just be a very personal thing at home if you cannot get to a community or a group that may be doing this. Is that correct, Ms. Yeye?
Yes, that is definitely correct. And actually something that Olu mentioned was about the compassion piece, the personal cleansing and purification. Mm-hmm. That was a really important addition, because as we do these ceremonies to the four elemental mothers, those mothers exist within us.
Yes.
And one thing when we went to Little Tibet in India was as he said, the levels of compassion that we witnessed in action. And so as we purify the four elemental mothers, we must purify our own actions and behaviors internally as well. And we must become beacons of light to the world and look at ourselves honestly to see how are we not being mindful in our personal lives. What are the things that we do that harms others through speech or actions, psychologically, emotionally?
Yes.
And this is a time of great purification and therefore and pretty exciting, cleansing. Anybody who does a ceremony, whether it's a personal prayer or group, I would love if you can inform also Serena, if they can inform you or me. And I've got a list that I've started. And to honor each of those ceremonies, even an individual prayer, I will actually put them on the list.
Okay. It sounds very clear to me. So, if anybody on the call has any questions, I don't know how Ari works this. Would you please let us know and we can ask?
Yeah, if you have a question right now, you could unmute yourself. One of the things I wanted to bring to the table as well is that if it's possible, if a person can get to a body of water, that would be wonderful, even if it's a pond or a stream or lake or something. But the way that I would personally approach it as well is not only prayer, but to be in a mode of deep appreciation for the mother, for everything that she is, everything she gives us. And that appreciation and gratitude is so important to be able to do that. If a person does not know how to get into that state, and if you're not a member of the 2012emergence.com site, please contact me, and I will be more than happy to forward you some videos on how to get into that state of gratitude. And my email address is Ari, A-R-I, at shatteringthematrix.com. So if anybody has any questions, you can unmute yourself, and we can, please speak one person at a time. And that'll be a *6 to unmute yourself. And then when you're finished with your question, then *6 again so that you can mute yourself. Anyone have any questions or any comments?
Hi, this is Patty.
Hey, Patty.
In Spokane. I saw this message last night.
Okay.
Or heard it on another site that I follow. So I know this is from Spirit, and I know it's very, very, very important. And I thank you both for bringing this, for all of us for bringing this.
Yes,
I don't have any questions. I know, you know where I am now, kind of, with my illness and everything I'm doing, but I've been feeling a lot of healing in the last few days, so let's just push it all the way this time, okay? God bless.
God bless. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Any comments? *6 to unmute yourselves. Okay, looks like we're pretty much done. If nobody else has a question, Serena, do you want to have any last words? Or Omi, any last words?
No, I just want to say actually thank you to Serena and yourself for having us on here, and just pray that the work you're doing continues to be empowered, and that my prayer is that we all continue to be empowered on our journeys, and that somehow we do hold that hope in our hearts and bring that balance to our earth and all the spiritual circles, act and answer the call, that we put aside our own self-interest and we put aside our own self-ambitions, and we truly act in a pure way. And I just all I've got to say is thank you so much, and thank you, and a special message for Serena. Thank you, Serena, for stepping into your power and listening to your heart and continuing to journey despite of all the discouragement that we've all faced along the way. Deep bows to you.
Oh God, thank you so much, and to you, and for speaking from your heart, most importantly, because that's what really got to me. And I will never give up. I will never stop until my breath is gone, to try and spread this message for the mother and her waters, the waters which we are made of, mostly water. We are 80% water, our bodies, and we can start also by offering prayers to the waters in our own bodies. If anybody is not clear on what they can do or where to start, it's really very simple and from the heart, as you say. And I think your message and your voice and your emotions, your beautiful emotions, got through very clearly. I don't think I can add any more to it. It's very pure and lovely, and I will leave it at that. And so if no one else has any questions?
No, I just have one more thing to ask, if it's okay. Just to be very clear, this Saturday, what is the intention? Everyone to do their own prayer?
So the intention, Ari, is that we will have the very first main ceremony, which will be multi-faith, and that will happen in Asheville, North Carolina, very early in the morning, 6:15 at sunrise. Then we encourage other people to hold small ceremonies to give, as you said, deep gratitude and forgiveness to the mother, and to just connect deeply with the elementals in a beautiful way. And also people can do their own individual prayer. And Ari, you said something very important about the water. That's actually in our ceremonial structure, that the water is what holds all of this together. She is what births everything. She recreates everything. So the water is actually very, very important for the ceremony. And so, yes, by doing the ceremonies with water present or by a river or ocean is actually very important to activate the prayers. And I'll give you one example of this. When I was in what we call Little Tibet in India, when we were there, every prayer they did to the Buddha or to the Taras was actually, they always sprinkled water. Even when they lit the butter lamps, they always sprinkle water on these things, and they always have lots of bowls of water by the deity. So the water is actually a special ingredient for activating prayers. So I just wanted to add that was a very important advice, and is actually a really important part of the ceremony, the water.
Well, not only that, I believe that Dr. Emoto has shown how when we put the intention of love and positive thinking into water, how the molecules change into beautiful sacred geometry shapes. So I think that if we have the intention of spreading that, it'll connect through every single body of water and circle the earth, I hope. That's the intention of that.
Yes, Ashe, thank you.
I also wanted to let everyone know that this teleconference call has been recorded so that you can listen to it again. I will be putting it up on YouTube, and feel free to use that to share with others so that others know about this ceremony and what we're planning to do, and that way we can all be empowered and be involved in doing this not only Saturday but on an ongoing basis. I mean, being in gratitude. Yeah, being in gratitude and showing love and asking for forgiveness is very important to continue doing it. It's not just a one-day thing. Do you agree, Omi?
Yes. No, this is going to be going on for the rest of the year, and until we need to do this. So yes, it's ongoing for the moment, for sure.
Ongoing.
And if we make it through this year, we will continue doing it.
Absolutely, yeah.
And one more point about the forgiveness. If we, I think it would be a good idea to also ask forgiveness to those who are deliberately polluting the waters, like corporations and chemical companies. We can ask forgiveness for ourselves, but maybe we can also ask forgiveness to those who are deliberately doing this, and to include them, for them, to try and appease this as much as possible. I do hope that this is an ongoing thing. I hope that this has touched everybody in their hearts, and that they continue to do this and find some way to do this and spread this to as many people as they can for as long as they can.
Exactly.
And I thank everyone who has been on the call, to be here. I thank you, and I send you blessings.
Yeah, before you end, on the note to dovetail off what you just said, when you ask for forgiveness for those polluters or just humanity in general, ask for transformation so that they will be forgiven and transformed into contributing and sentient beings again, so that maybe that'll help transform that energy.
Yes, good point.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. Well, everyone, I believe this is we've come to the end of this call. We've listened to such a compelling message that I heard it before, and just listening to it again, somehow it was just so much more powerful today for some reason, and it just gets me. It really gets me to the core, and I am so blessed. Thank you so much, Omi, for being on the call. Serena, obviously, there's no words there, and everyone that took the time out of their schedules to be on the call and found the message to be compelling enough to be here, I thank you too, and blessings to all of you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
God bless.
Okay.